Good evening and welcome. My name is Michele and I'm an independent demonstrator here in New South Wales, Australia with Stamping Up. So what I want to show you today is some fun products and we're going to make hopefully a fun card. I've got an idea and I've put a few things together, so we're going to have a little bit of a play. But first off, what I wanted to do is just quickly let you know about our celebration and our mini catalogue. So let me just pop this up here. So if you don't have a mini catalogue as yet or the celebration catalogue, please let me know and I can get one out to you. Now, the celebration catalogue is that if you spend $90 or $180, you can get from both the mini catalogue and the annual catalogue, you can choose something from the celebration catalogue for free. So that's our a great deal to have. It's only got another month, so we're almost at the end of January, and the celebration catalogue only runs for January and February, but our mini catalogue goes a little bit longer than that. Now, also in our celebration catalogue, you have got the chance to join my team. So the joining offer is the option. There's two options you can have. Option one is that you can join. It's $169, and you can have the Stamp and Glass Mat Studio for which value is the value of $106 for free. Okay, so that's a fantastic offer. The option two is still $169, but instead of the glass plate, you can choose an extra $51 of product for your starter kit. So if you want to know any more about that, please get in touch with me and let me know, and we'll have a chat and I can tell you all about it. So just also too, while I've got this up here, here's my host code for January. So there's only a couple of more days, or actually one more day. Today's the 30th. So that will be changing tomorrow or the day after. So that's the host code. So if you want to order product for less than $250, like order less than $250 worth of product, use my host code and then I will send you out a free gift. If you're spending over $250, then you will get product that you can purchase with host rewards. Okay, so any questions on any of that, please jump on and ask me. I'm quite happy to answer those. So let me just turn it back to the comments. Now, if you've never been on here before, please let me put me back up so you can actually see me. Here we go. Jump on, say hello, let me know where you're from. It's always great to say hello to new people. Okay, so let me turn this down so we can get started. And I'll show you what we're going to play with today. Okay, so here we go. So sorry about the glare a little bit on my plate. This is glass plate that I was talking about here before. And when you get that as part of the studio joining, you also get this mat here, which is really great. It holds the little ink spots. This is one here. So it holds those in there. You can pop your ink into these wells or your water. This will also hold any of your pads and stop them from moving around, or you can clean your brushes on it, but just be aware that this will stain. It is a porous item and it will stain. Also with the studio, you get this chamois here, which is a great way to keep it all nice and clean. I've just got mine folded up in half there, but a really good product to have. So that's what you get in that studio. So let's have a look at this here, which is what we're going to be playing with today. So this is the Everyday Details bundle. So with this bundle here, so here's the stamp set here. This is in the mini catalogue. You get the stamp set, and then you can also purchase the dies that go with it. Now, these dies don't cut out these images. What they do cut out, now this is only just some of the things that they cut out. There's also circles as well. I don't know whether you can see it. It's right down the bottom here. But it cuts out that window, and that one there comes from the inside of that. You've got another rectangle here. There is one more that's smaller. It also cuts out these decorative edges there. It's got two of that one, and then this one here that you can use on your card. this little sentiment, and then it has the circles. So the same situation as the rectangles, but in the circles. So it's a standalone product to the dies. It doesn't cut any of these images out. You have to fussy cut those, but it's a lot of fun anyway. So that's what we're going to be playing with today. Let me just pop those to one side. And what I'm going to be teaming this up with today is my favourite designer series paper from the Celebration catalogue. And this is the Flight and Airy paper, which is this one up here. So I spent $90 from the annual catalogue or the mini catalogue, and I got this paper here for free. So it's a beautiful paper with lovely little soft bird images and branches and flowers and that sort of thing. And yeah, very much my favorite thing. Hi, Anita. Yeah, it's beautiful paper, isn't it? It's stunning. I just can't stop using it. I've got a few projects on the go using it at the moment, and just loving every minute of it. So that's what we're going to be playing with today. So let's get started. So let's let me pop all those to one side. And if you have any questions or anything, please jump on and ask. So what I've done is I've pulled out some bits and pieces here, and I just need my scrap of basic white to start with. I'm just trying to work out what I've got here, because I've got sort of all these little bits and pieces, and I've already done some of the work and not others, so I just don't want to pull all of them into view just yet, but I just need another little bit of basic white, and that should do. Now I've already sort of coloured in the image that we're going to use. I need that for my sentiment, but I am going to show you how I've done this. So what I'm working with today is my watercolour pencils. I sort of had a bit of a play with watercolour pencils and with blends, and decided the pencils were going to give me what I wanted. Yeah, it would be good if we could just buy it outright, wouldn't it, Anita? I've managed to get 2 packs of it, so I've sort of got a little stash happening. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp this on my scrap of basic white here, and I'm stamping this with smoky slate. I didn't want to use black like Memento ink. I just wanted to keep this quite subtle, because what I was sort of really trying to achieve is almost a Wedgwood type of effect. So I didn't sort of want any heaviness, I just wanted some lightness. So I've gone over my watercolour pencils. Now your watercolour pencils are in your annual catalogue. I can't, can I find them in here quickly? It is on page here on page 125. You've got your watercolour pencils. There's 2 assortments. There's assortment 1 and 2, and assortment 1 is $28 and assortment 2 is $21.75. There are a few more pencils in the assortment 1, but you can't do one without the other, I don't think. It just gives you a really nice range of colours. And then all I've done is I've got a couple of these sort of boxes to store them in. They come in just a cardboard packaging, but you can get the empty, like a CD case, in the back of our catalogue. Really great for storage. So I've got them stored in that. But anyway, let's get back to the colours that I'm going to use. So I've got here, I've got the Night of Navy. I've also got Balmy Blue. I've got Old Olive, Daffodil Delight, some Garden Green. Now, I've put in basic black there. I'm just not quite sure yet whether I'm going to use that. And a Flirty Flamingo. So they're the colours I'm going to colour this in. Now, I'm going to blend them. I've just stamped it on basic white cardstock, and I'm going to blend them with my colour lifter. As I've said before in a couple of my other lives, I love using my colour lifter. It's a lot softer, I find, and if you can't overwork it and pill your paper, which is what you can do if you use your these things here, which is your blender pen. Blender pens are really great, but if you overwork it, it will pill the paper. It lifts the paper a little bit. So I tend to like using my blender pen. I find it works much better. Oh, okay. So they've been dropped somewhere. Yeah. I find I've got to be very careful. I have a habit of dropping pencils, so but yeah, I haven't had that problem as yet. So just be very careful. Yeah, Winker Stella is also a great way of on your basic white as well, because it won't. I don't think it will kill it as well. So what I'm going to start off with is my balmy blue, and all I'm really doing is just drawing in these lines here, and just with a little flick, just to have different lengths, because all I want to do is just I want to keep this center part here white or light in color, and have most of my color around those edges. So it's sort of like it's darker on the side where your shadowing would be, and coming quite light in the middle. It happened at a class, yeah. If they get dropped, yeah, I think it's a hard one. I think when you're doing classes, you're very protective of your products. I mean, I find that I am. But you've got to be very careful, because people don't really understand that much why, like how important it is not to drop, whether it be your pencils, or whether it be your blends, or even your ink pads, where I've had customers that have accidentally broken an ink pad, because your first reaction is going, ah! You take that big deep breath in, and sort of like, but I mean, I think sometimes we have to get over that. And these things are going to happen, and unfortunately, and yeah, we just have to keep going. So all I'm going to do is just add some color along these lines, just flicking it in towards the middle. I want to put a little bit of color underneath those leaves, coming from in there, bit of shadowing, another little bit there. I'm just going to put a little bit, even though there's no lines there, I'm just putting a bit of color in there, and a little bit of there, just where I can sort of see where the lines that Stamping Up have given us. And then I'm just going to follow a little bit on this handle. Don't want too much, because again, I want that sort of that look of a cup that's going to be white, but sort of have that little blue hint of blue into it, but being sort of darker and blue around those where the shadowing would be. Now you can also, if you wanted to, just add a little bit of Night of Navy in here. I'm just going to add a little bit over here, and I like to add all this down before I start adding blending with my color lifter. And I'm just going to add the Night of Navy on the inside rim of my cup. So if we're using your watercolor pencils, you can color everything in before you even start blending all your colors. So again, with my flowers here, I've got my Flirty Flamingo pencil here, and I'm just going to flick that out. Now these I keep fairly sharp. I use a electric pencil sharpener that I bought many years ago. Still works really well, and I try to keep my points as sharp as what I possibly can. And then again, I've got my Daffodil Delight, which I'm just going to go into the center there. Now, with my leaves here, I did sort of pull out my old olive, but I'm actually going to use my garden green and put a little bit of that in there. I just wanted something a little bit stronger than the old olive, and I'm just putting it down through the center. You can, if you want, color it out, but again, I want the same sort of effect that I'm going to get with my teacup with my pencil on my leaves. I just want the center of the leaf being green, and then blending it almost to a white. So if I lift this up and show you, that's basically all I've done. So this is just a really, really quick way to colour an image. You know, there's not much, it hasn't taken long for me to do that. And now I'm just going to grab my blender pen, and I'm using the finer tip end. Always make sure it's clean. And I'm going to start moving these colours out. Now that rim of my teacup I'm going to have fairly dark, and the colour that I'm picking up from here, I'm just going into some of these areas inside that rim area. Now you can keep a little scrap of cardstock somewhere just to clean off your nib. I'm going to be cutting this out, fussy cutting it, so I'm not sort of worried about where I put my colour. But before you go on to a different colour, just clean your nib before you start. And now I'm going to come down into this area here. Again, I just want to bring that little bit of that blue through there, and I'm just doing like a flicking motion and just flicking that out towards the center of my cup. Okay, so I'm just bringing that color in towards the center, and the color lifter is just picking up that color. Because it's an alcohol base, it's just very gently moving that color in. Now these watercolor pencils are beautiful to work with. And then I'm doing the same from the other side. I'm just flicking that color in, so it's going to be darker along my edges and getting into a lighter, or even just into the white in that center part there. But the alcohol in these pens is picking up that color and just very softly bringing that color in. So it's quite easy to do, and you can go back and work in different areas again. So again, this handle, I'm just going to follow the length of the handle and just bring it around, just picking up that color from the pencil, just like that. Hello, Anne, how are you? And then again, for the base of my teacup, I'm just going to pick up that color and just flick it out. Not really even minding too much if I go over the edge, because I am going to fussy cut this. Just going to move that Night of Navy around in the top there. And then again, just clean off my nib before I go to the next color. Okay, so again with my flower, I'm just going to pick up that color, and again with a flicking or a tick type motion, I'm just pushing that color out. Don't want to color the whole thing. I don't mind if there is a little bit of white showing, though this color is spreading very, very easy. So I'm not getting much white in there at all. And because it's a very small image as well. Again, clean it off till my nib is going white, and then I'm going to go into this green and then pick up the green, and again just flicking it from the center out. Now I like to use my fine tip when I'm doing this, because the images are so small that it doesn't take much, and the brush tip sometimes I find is a little bit too big, but it all boils down to personal preference. Okay, so again, just going to clean that off. Now you can come back in with your pencils again over the top and just draw in a few more lines if you want to have a bit more depth, you know, put a bit more heaviness in your color. Because with your color pencils, if you go wherever you've pushed down quite hard and laid more color, that's where it's going to be the darkest. Out the edges where you've not got much color, it's going to be the lightest. I'm just going to grab my Night of Navy here and just put a little bit more depth along my sides here. And really, I'm just doing the same sort of flicking motion I was doing with my blender pen, and I'm just doing that same motion with my Night of Navy. Okay, and then if you want, you can go back over it again and just blend that colour out again. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. Now the only thing is that these, because I've stamped this off in basic grey, in smoky slate and not in black, my leaves here are just in a grey. So what you can do is come back in with either your black pencil or with your garden green, and just go over these leaves a little bit. I'm not going to even touch them with the blend of the colour lifter. All I'm just doing is just adding a little bit of brightness to those leaves, just over the top of that grey. That's smoky slate. Okay, so let me lift this up. That's what I finished up with. Quite easy and quite simple. Okay, so now what we're going to do with that, let's pop the lid back on that, and we're going to fussy cut this out. Now what I thought I would do is I'm going to fussy cut it not with scissors but with my craft knife. Now, I haven't done this for a while, so let's see how we go. You don't need to put too much pressure on your knife, and basically what I'm going to do is, because this is on a glass mat, I'm just going to move my paper. I'm not moving my knife as such, I'm just moving my paper, and this will just give me a nice smooth cut. And this also allows me to cut really close to my edge. So I'm just turning my paper around, putting a little bit of pressure on the knife, but not too much. Just turning it. So the glass mat just allows you to turn. If you tried doing this on a self-healing mat, you'll find that the blade actually gets caught in your mat. Now you don't want to press so hard that you're actually scratching your glass. Okay, so you're better off going over an area 2 or 3 times rather than sort of pushing your knife straight through, feeling like you're taking it through the table. Now I'm going to come up here to the very fine area of these leaves, and I'm just going to try to go around them a little bit, leaving a little bit of white, because otherwise they're too delicate to cut intricately. Okay, I'm going to come down there. So just sort of, if you wanted to, you could leave a couple of millimeters of white all the way around, but I'm just going to just leave just a tiny little bit and leave some white space, so then it's not too fine a cut. Many years ago when I used to do scrapbooking, this is how I did all my titles in my pages. So it's been a while since I've done it with a knife. And this is another one of those fantastic reasons why it is good to join Stamping Up, because you'll get your discount off your product. You gain lots and lots of friends who become like family. And we have chat rooms and, you know, different things that we all get involved in together. Now, hopefully that is just cut out beautifully. But with joining Stamping Up at the moment, I've just got to just grab up a little bit there caught. There we go. I think I've got it. Joining Stamping Up at the moment, you can get this glass mat for free. So just giving that a little bit of a wriggle, like you do when you're loosening up your dies. And there you go.
Okay, I'm not quite sure what's happened here. I have frozen. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this off and might take my phone off and see if I can restart it and get it going again. So I hope you can all still hear me. I'm not quite sure what has happened. Let's take that off and we'll try this part again. Bear with me one moment, folks. Sorry. Either the internet has just dropped out or something happened. Okay. Okay then, let's have a look. Let's see if we can pull this back up again. One of the things that happen when you're doing lives.
Okay, have you got me again? Can everyone hear me again? Okay, so what I was doing before, if you missed out what I was doing, so I don't know when that froze up, but I've just cut this little one out here using my craft knife on my mat. And this one here was one I cut earlier today with my scissors. So if I bring these up close, so you can see the difference between the two. Now, if you're using a craft knife, you can leave a line around it, but I find with my craft knife, I'm quite I'm happier actually cutting fairly close to that. And if I wanted to, I could even cut out that little bit there in the handle. So I might even just do that in a moment. But that's the difference in the two of them, I find. So it's really preference, like what your preference is using, whether you have a preference of using scissors. I find with scissors, I will naturally leave a gap, whereas with my knife, I don't. So I don't know why that is, probably just because this is what I used to use when I was scrapbooking. So again, let me just cut this around. I'm not putting too much pressure on my knife. Now, I'm not quite sure when this cut out, but I know I was saying that this mat is fantastic with doing this sort of thing. So there you go, as simple as that to cut out that handle. So I'm just going to pop that lid back onto there so I don't cut myself on it. But yeah, if you're going to be using the craft knife, get yourself one of these glass mats. Join my team. Get this for free. You've only got one more month, only got February to do that in. Get this glass mat, and then you can use your knife on top of this. If you use it with self-healing, you will find that your craft knife can tend to get caught in the self-healing mat. Okay. You love cutting out with a knife, do you, Anne? Oh, look, I saw it's probably, golly, I'm going back years. I'm going back at least 20 years ago. I found an article on a woman who cut out, it was like old English lettering. And I read through it and how she did it, and she did it with a glass mat or a plate of glass and with a craft knife. And it was my goal back then to do that. And that's, yeah, I just practiced and practiced until I got it. And I find actually using a knife on a sheet of glass is fantastic. And I used to just buy cheap picture frames with the glass in it and take the glass out, but you had to make sure you had glass, not perspex. But now having this wonderful mat, you can use this for so many things. And you don't need to press that heavy. I mean, I've heard one person say they've scratched theirs. I don't know how, but they must be putting a lot of pressure on it. You don't need to put much pressure on it. If your knife is nice and sharp, it will cut beautifully. Okay, so let's keep going with this card. Otherwise, I could talk about all this all night. So there's our flower that we're going to use. I'm going to pop that one to one side because I'll probably use it again for another card. And let's continue on. So I'm going to pop that to one side. So what I've decided to do, the papers, as I said, I'm going to be using is that Flight. Okay, what was it called? Flight, and here it is. I'm going to be using the Flight and Airy papers, but I'm only using a small amount of it. So I have got a card base here, and my card base is in boho. Whoops. The internet is playing up tonight, but at least it came back. Okay. Let's try that again. But at least I didn't have to play with it, take it down and play. I'm just checking my colours here. So the colours of my cardstock that I've got is Flirty Flamingo and Boho Blue. So they're the colours that I'm using, and Basic White. So I've just got cut a piece here, which is 10.5 by 14.9. And I will put all these measurements and everything also on my blog. I am a bit behind in my blog. I still haven't done last Tuesday night's blog post. I have just been so busy doing school uniforms, taking up hems. So then I've also got a piece of Basic White, which I have already cut down to 10 by, no, I cut this down to 9.7 by 14.1. So I've taken, yeah, it's about, what is this one here? The front of this piece here is 10.5 by 14.9. I'll do it this way. Then I've got a mat here of my Calypso, my Flirty Flamingo Calypso Coral. Flirty Flamingo, and the Flirty Flamingo is 10 by 14.4. Then I've got my piece of Basic White, which is 9.7 by 14.1. So basically, my mat is 0.5 centimetre smaller than my card base, or if you're doing it in Imperial, you'd be going down by 1/4 inch. And then this piece here is 3 millimeters smaller, and if you're going down in Imperial, that's 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and what I've done is I've already run that through with an embossing folder, and I love this embossing folder. This is in our annual catalogue, and it's the Distress Tile 3D embossing folder. I just think it's just so beautiful, gives that lovely old world effect. So I've already done that. So let's glue all of those down. So we'll see if I've got much glue in this. Now, all I'm going to do at the moment is actually glue my front panel here to my mat. I'm not going to glue that yet to my card base. I just want to glue that piece to there. And I just want a little bit of that Flirty Flamingo popping through. Didn't want too much of it. It's quite a strong colour, and I didn't want to overpower it. So let's just give that a good rub and spread that glue on the inside. Okay, so eventually that's going to go on there, but at the moment I'm not going to put it on there because I may put that up on dimensionals. Then what I've got is I've got a piece of Basic White here, and I've got my Boho Blue ink, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment. I'm going to stamp that a little bit up towards the top. This is just a scrap of basic white. So that's the sentiment from that stamp set. And I'm going to die cut that with this die. Now this die is, if I can show you the dies again. So with these rectangular ones here, you have one die which is going to cut out a piece like that. Then you have your next die which cuts out that piece. And then this one here, there must be one, there is one smaller. So that one is that piece there. So that's the next size down. Then there is another one which is smaller. So it's so this one here is the next size down from that center one there. Okay, just to give you a bit of an idea on the size. It's something like 8 point, let me just measure this piece so you know. It's 8.4 by 4.6. That's the diameter of that one there. Hello, Deb. You got sidetracked with the jigsaw. Love jigsaws. Now, I wish I'd stamp that up a bit higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to stamp it again. I want to go up a little bit higher. Now, you can cut this out and then die cut this out and then stamp it. But I actually like to stamp first, just in case I'm a little bit crooked with my stamping, because then I can straighten it up with my die cutting. Okay, let me just pop the lid on that. Excuse me. Grab my mini cut and emboss machine here and my plates, which are down here. I'm going to pop that into there. So let's see if I can make sure you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to pop that up the top. So I'm just centralizing my sentiment in the middle of that, and I want it up the top there because I'm going to adhere the teacup down underneath. Did I move anything there? I think no, I think I've got it right. Let's pop that through. Okay. So there's our sentiment done. Get rid of this piece here, and later on I'll clean up that. Get rid of all these little dots. You'll have 1,000,001 little dots lying around with these dies, and they will stick to your plates. Now what I've got is a piece of the Flight and Airy Designer Series paper, and I've chosen the plain, well not plain, but the floral. So it hasn't got any birds or anything on this, but these are all the colours that we're using in our teacup. So I'm just working out, don't think it really matters. There's going to be quite a bit of pink and blue in that, and quite a pink and blue in that. And you're not going to get too much of it in there anyway. It's just, we're not going to see much of it because we're going to layer all of this. So let's just run this one through. So this is still a die from the same set that comes with the stamp set that we're using. So this is still part of that bundle. Remember, when you purchase a bundle, you can get your 10% discount. So if it comes in a bundle, whether it's dies or punches, it is worthwhile getting. Okay, let me pop that away and pop those away because that's all our die cutting now done. So we have got a choice, because I die cutted one of these earlier. Die cutted, is there a word? Is cutted? I die cut the blue one just now, but I did the pink one earlier. So both of these have got the Flirty Flamingo in it, but they've got a different base. This one here is more the boho blue base. So we're just going to work out which one is going to look better. So let me just bring in my bits and pieces, and you can tell me what you think. So that's going to go on the front of our card like so. And this was my idea, with the circle down onto there. Now it could go into the middle, it could go across to one side. It's really, I'm not quite sure yet where. And I've also pulled out some linen thread. That's going to sit on there like that. And then that is going to go there. And that's probably going to go across a little bit. And then I thought I might add the bow down here. So that's it with the blue circle underneath. The other option is to have with the pink. I think I like the blue. What does everybody else think? Opinion. We like the pink or the blue? My only problem is the Flirty Flamingo watercolor pencil is a lot more pink, whereas the cardstock has got a lot more orange in it. So I just sort of felt that this just may not be, it's the wrong sort of pink. It's almost got a melon mumbo sort of look at it. Yeah, I'm thinking the blue too, Deb. I think, and it just, I mean, even though there's blue in the floral, I like the blue background, and I think that ties it all in a lot better. Okay, I'm going to stick with my blue. That's what I thought I would use. Okay, so let's adhere all these bits and pieces to this. So this piece here is going to go. Now I like to have things, it's like the rule of thirds. So yeah, I have this up in my top 2/3 more or less, and I like to have less at the top and more at the bottom. Just the fact when I did show card and ticket writing, and it's just something that's ingrained in me, is you have anything down too low, it looks like it's falling off the card or off the paper. So that was just something that I was taught many moons ago, and it's something that stuck with me. So I'm going to pop that, and I might pop more into the center, but again, it's going into that top 2/3. So I've probably only got about 2.5 centimeters at the top here, and the rest is down the bottom. Now this is the circle, as I said before, from the same die, so it's got the little perforated holes all the way around it, and then this piece is going to sit on top. But what I'm going to do first off is let's grab our linen thread. Oh, excuse me. Oh, just had to blow my nose. Sorry about that. I have got, I must have very dry eyes at the moment because they're all being very mucky. My optometrist has told me it's probably because they're drying. Old age. They tell me I'm getting old. I don't like that word. Getting old. I'm not old. My body might be old, but I'm not old. Anyway, I'm just running my fingers down my linen thread just to take out some of those kinks. And I'm going to tie probably quite a big bow. I'm just playing for the moment. So I just want to tie a fairly big bow. And then so we can do a single bow like that. Well, let's see if I can do a big double bow. Now, I did work it out once how to do it with my fingers. a lot more thread. I've got a bow maker here somewhere. Wrap that around twice, around 2 fingers. Don't know whether you can see that, but I'm holding this between my thumb and that finger, and then I've wrapped it around this finger twice. I think I need a bit more length. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one and wrap it underneath. And let's see if I can get this to work. Let's cut off. So that one goes that way, and then did have this all worked out once how to do this. I've just looped it. Now I've got 3 on one side. I didn't want 3. It's all going to get hidden underneath anyway, so I just want 2 big loops. Look, I've done a half hitch. Yay. That'll work. So it's all going to go under that teacup. Look, perfect. Not exactly what I wanted, but it will work. So that's going to go on there, and I'm going to pop a glue dot underneath that. Just grab my other take a pick tool. I'm getting a take a pick tool collection. My aim is to have one for every take a pick tool implement they have brought out. So that's going to go probably about there. I think before I go much further, I'm going to glue this down. So let's just pop some glue on the back of this one. I want to glue that flat down because I'm going to put dimensionals. Now I just want to lift that up a little bit higher. This rectangle is about the same width as my circle, my diameter of my circle. So I'm just keeping that all in line with that, and I've got it over one side a little bit. Just like that. And then we're going to grab some dimensionals and pop them on the back. So I've got some big ones and some mini ones here. I'm just wondering, because we want this to sit over the top, I don't want to put a dimensional where that knot is. So I might use my mini ones. So we're going to have 1, 2 there. I can pop another one over here. I think 1 more just there. So I'm just going to use the 4. Don't need to go overboard. And then that is going to sit just like that. Probably could have, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to lift that now. I'm just wondering whether I can just lift that up a little bit. Just lift it. Whoops. See if I can take that one off. Just want to have that a little bit higher. That's better. Trim these. Let me just move some of this out of the road. Thank you, Deb. So now I'm going to add some of the dimensionals to the back. Put the lid on my glue before it dries out. Nothing worse than dried out glue. Here's my card base.
We're having so much fun. Can you everybody hear me with this internet? This internet really there's the internet on my phone. Look, I might just even leave it at that because really the card is finished. The only thing I haven't done is popped the inside of the card. So all I was going to do there is I've got a piece of basic white cut to go in there, which is 10 by 14.4. I've cut a strip of the blue designer series paper, and I was going to add that onto that as well. So there is my card. I hope you can see that. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm really sorry that technology hasn't been working for us well tonight, but rather than me spending 5 or 10 minutes trying to get it back up again, at least you've seen how I've made that card. I will put this all up hopefully in the next couple of days on my my blog with all the measurements and everything. As I said before, if you're interested in joining Stamping Up and you don't have a demonstrator and you've got some questions, please jump on and to my website or send me an email at michele@jutrissa.com. It's quite simple. It's my first name and at my surname.com, and I can answer any questions for you. So thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you've enjoyed that card. I'm sorry about the internet. technology is just not going my way today, but that's fine. We will get through, and hopefully, I'm not quite sure. I should be here on Friday. Just keep an eye out because I do have a couple of medical appointments coming up over the next couple of weeks, and I know one of them is on a Friday, and I'm going to be out for 3 hours with that one. So these checkups. Okay. And I think that's it. So have a lovely week. Take care. Stay safe. And we'll catch up later on. See ya. Bye for now.